Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, hello. I am getting right into today's video by starting off with a pre-prepped practice hand. I did apply the Makartt tips for today's video. I freaking love them as they are super square and bow sculpted, which gives that nice straight look. If you are into that, they do have them in the color natural and clear, which I love having options. So I'm going ahead and applying my burnt orange color mix that I actually created myself. I'm just applying that on the pinky nail, and then I'm also applying that on the index finger. I wanted to focus more on the accent nails for today's video and kind of give you guys a glamified fall look, if you can consider it that. The crystal design is definitely a lot more on the elegant side, so I wanted to show you guys exactly how I created that. I'm just applying that burnt orange onto the pinky, gently applying that near the cuticle, and then pushing it up, holding the finger downwards, and then blending it down into the existing acrylic. For today's video, I am using the Not Polish acrylic brush in the number 12, along with my Profiles Backstage monomer. I love both products, so definitely recommend them. I just went ahead and applied a medium-sized bead of acrylic on that middle section, and then I start gently blending it down and then lightly blending it up. And then of course I always apply more acrylic wherever it's needed. Sometimes you will notice that your typical size bead does not cover the full nail that you were intending to cover, which is absolutely fine. Just make sure you do apply a little bit more wherever you need more. I'm just working near the cuticle. Always remember to hold the finger down so that the product does not leak into the cuticle area, as that can cause lifting. So I place that just a hairline away from the cuticle and make sure that I clean up any leaking or any spill that gets into that skin. And I just use the point of my brush and gently wipe at it, and that helps get rid of that product. Now moving on to the middle finger, I did decide to do all the simple nails first and then do the nail art. So I am using Totally Taupe from Glam Glits. I actually used it in one of my recent videos on where I showed you guys how to save some money by custom mixing your own colors. And I realized that I forgot how much I loved this color. It's such a good neutral nude and it's so opaque. So I decided to use it for today's video. I'm not worrying about adding the thickness just yet because this is such an opaque color. I do want to add the clear on top just to make sure it has its strength. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that on the cuticle area, lightly blend it downwards, and just lightly clean up any areas that I need. As you can see, just by taking the tip of your brush and moving the product away from that skin, it cleans it up nicely. And then I just realized that I needed a little bit more on the tip, so I just added the smallest amount, just making sure that there was no tip showing. So marble, in my opinion, is always a go-to. I feel like everybody likes it, so I figured I would add this in there. I recently did a set on one of my clients and I remembered how much I loved marble, so I decided to add that into today's video as well. I am just grabbing all the colors that I want and lightly dabbing it on there. This one was more of a messy marble. I'm definitely not trying to be extremely perfect. Sometimes with certain colors I will try to perfect the marbleized look, but I really liked the blotchy look of this one. So I went ahead and I'm just applying those colors randomly on the nail, no specific order. And then I'm adding some chrome flakes over top and then mattifying them lightly with the Milky white. So another way of doing it as well, as you can see, my ball of bead has white and orange. And this is one of the methods that I love using for marbling because it almost does it for you very easily without you having to do too much work. So as you can see, it mattified certain areas, certain other areas are darker, and I just feel like it looks so good. So I'm just adding a little bit more Milky White where I feel like it's needed, and then some more chrome flakes, just layering the product as I feel like it needs to be layered. The fun part about these marbleized looks is that you don't have to be super precise with it, and I feel like no matter how messy you make it, it will always turn out looking so cool. So definitely recommend it, especially if you are a beginner nail tech. Once I'm content with that, I'm going ahead and encapsulating the nails. I did apply a medium-sized bead on that pinky nail, and then for darker colors, I like to wet the surface where I'm going to be dragging the product on, just to make sure that there's no air bubbles, because with dark colors you can really see it. So that's basically what you saw me doing, just wiping my brush with a little bit of monomer over top of that surface. I'm just gonna go ahead and do my normal encapsulation process, which technically just consists of me adding the thickness of the nail that I want and making sure that everything, especially glitter, is nice and covered. Moving on to filing, I am using the Tom & Taylor Peel and Stick file. I'm going ahead and filing the sides, and then for the pinky I did go ahead and file the surface of the nail, and then for the rest of the nails I ended up just doing the sides and then the surface. So if anyone is thrown off by that, I'm sorry. I don't know why I did that. Sometimes I just do things out of order, and I mean, it works. I still go back in and fix it, but it did kind of throw me off when I was editing the video. So I am filing the sides, making sure that the shape is nice and straight. If you do have issues with your shaping skills, go ahead and watch the shaping video that I created for beginner nail techs. I do very in-depth videos for you guys, so make sure to check that out. I hope it helps you tremendously. Let me know what you guys think as well. The reason why sometimes I like doing the surface with my hand file is just I feel like I have more control over it. The e-file can be tricky, especially for beginners, so always be aware that you can use a hand file. If that is your comfort zone, go for it. Don't think that you need to use an e-file. That always comes with practice. So always be aware of that. And I'm just going vertically up and down with my file, making sure that everything is nice and smooth. I feel like you get a nice transition with a hand file as well, with making everything all one thickness. Now I am turning the hand around to look at the nails from the client's perspective. This helps tremendously to see any flaws that you might not see, but they might see. So I'm just going ahead and squaring off those nails, making sure everything is nice and straight, fixing any errors that I do need to fix. Now because I use my hand file, I do like to buff even though I'm not doing nail art. So I'm just going in with my sponge buffer from Profil's Backstage, which is by far my favorite. And I'm just buffing that surface, making sure that there's no harsh lines from that hand file and smoothing everything out.
This is for my day ones. Don't forget the ones I made ya. Deep side sweating out flavor. This is for my day ones. Day one. Showed up. Day one before the glow up. Don't need to ask for them show love. Don't need to ask for them show love. Show love. Izquierda pa derecha, dale bien pa' acá. Yo quiero que tú bailes, dale sin parar. Todo mundo, hey, quiero vacilar. Shake it, shake it, and I'll throw it right back.
Now I'm cleansing the surface of the nail on my practice hand with a lint-free wipe and some swipe. Just making sure that I'm removing all the dust in preparation for our nail art and our top coat.
This is for my day ones. Don't forget the ones I made ya. Deep side sweating out flavor. This is for my day ones. Day one. This is for my day ones. Don't forget the ones I made ya. Deep side sweating out flavor. This is for my day ones. Day one. Showed up. Day one.
Now for the crystal application for today's video, I am using the Young Nails brush on glue and just applying that as I go where I am going to be placing the crystals. So I did decide to go with a topaz golden look because I feel like that matches really pretty with orange and definitely for the fall time. So I'm just mixing in big crystals with some smaller crystals, and then you'll see me filling in any slightly naked areas with caviar beads, and they are just gold caviar beads. So right here is actually one of the parts where I put caviar, but I know they're so small you can probably barely even see them. So just letting you guys know that I am using caviar beads for today's video. And then this is just a wax pencil. I believe I got it from Profiles. So these are my favorite. I feel like they're so much easier to use than any other crystal tool. So I'm basically going to be doing a clustered crystal design and then bringing it and tapering it down to the opposite side of where I started it. And you'll be able to see all of that come together. This is one of my favorite elegant looks. I actually just did it on one of my brides and it was so pretty. So I wanted to show you guys exactly how to create that.
This is for my day ones. Don't forget the ones I made ya. Deep side sweating out flavor. This is for my day ones. Day one. Izquierda pa derecha,
So I know a lot of you guys have questions whether to use crystal gel or glue. I honestly use both, and it really just depends what mood I'm in. So glue works just as well. Obviously, if you have clients that do lose crystals, go ahead and switch over to crystal gel, as that tends to hold them on a lot longer. But I never have issues with glue, really, just depending on what clients do, like for work or on their day-to-day basis. It does help knowing that background just to see what products you want and need to use. So now that I'm all done, I went ahead and let the crystals dry. You definitely want it to be fully dry or you can mess up your top coat. So I am applying Gloss It from Not Polish and just applying that very, very gently around the crystals. And then I did also want to mention that to hold them on longer, I am going to be showing you how I take the tip of my brush and just dab it on the areas that I can dab it on. So for example, the Caviar beads, you can fully put gel over them, which I'm focusing on those areas. And then any areas where the crystals have just a tiny bit of space where I can infill that with gel top coat, I also do that. It helps tremendously and it seals them all right in together. That basically concludes today's video. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time.